Never backtrack on someone who made you famous. Emma Watson just learned this the hard way, and JK Rowling's response was so brutal it broke the internet. So here's what happened. Emma Watson goes on a podcast trying to smooth things over with JK Rowling after years of public drama. She says she still treasures the Harry Potter author, still loves her, and wants people to know you can disagree but still care about someone. Sounds nice, right? Well, JK Rowling wasn't buying it. She dropped a nearly 700-word response that basically destroyed Emma Watson in front of 14 million followers. We're talking about one of the most savage takedowns in celebrity history, and it all comes down to loyalty, privilege, and what happens when you pick sides in a culture war. Let me break down exactly how this train wreck happened. Back in 2020, JK Rowling started sharing her views on transgender issues. She tweeted about biological sex, wrote a 3,600-word essay explaining her concerns about women's spaces and children transitioning, and basically said what millions of people think but are afraid to say out loud. The backlash was instant and brutal. Death threats, rape threats, harassment, the whole nightmare. And where was Emma Watson, the girl who JK Rowling personally chose to play Hermione Granger, the girl who owes her entire career to those Harry Potter films? She was right there with the mob, throwing JK under the bus. On the exact same day JK published her essay in June 2020, Emma Watson posted on Twitter saying trans people are who they say they are and deserve to live their lives without being questioned. She donated to Mermaids, a charity supporting trans youth, and made sure everyone knew she was on the right side of history. Now look, everyone's allowed their opinion, but here's the thing. Emma Watson didn't just disagree privately. She didn't pick up the phone and call JK to talk it through like an adult. She went public on the same day, knowing full well that JK Rowling was getting destroyed online. That's not having a different opinion. That's choosing a side and making sure everyone knows you're not with the person who made you famous. Then came the 2022 BAFTAs. Emma Watson walks on stage after being introduced as a witch, and she says, "I'm here for all the witches." People immediately saw this as another dig at JK Rowling, basically saying she supports all women, including trans women, and JK Rowling isn't included in that group. Some people even claim Emma mouthed "bar one" or "by the way" after saying it, though that part's debated. Either way, the message was clear, but here's where it gets really messed up. According to JK Rowling, right after that speech, Emma Watson sent her a handwritten note through someone else. Not a phone call, not a text, a note that said, "I'm so sorry for what you're going through." That's it, one sentence. And remember, Emma has JK's phone number. JK Rowling revealed this detail in her recent response, and she explained that this note came when the death threats, rape threats, and torture threats against her were at their peak, when she had to seriously beef up her security and was constantly worried about her family's safety. And Emma Watson, after publicly throwing more fuel on that fire with her BAFTA speech, thought a one-line note would somehow make it okay. That's not sympathy. That's wanting to look good to both sides. That's trying to virtue signal to the trans activists while keeping a private backdoor open to JK Rowling just in case things changed later. And guess what? Things did change. Fast forward to September 2025. Emma Watson appears on the On Purpose podcast with Jay Shetty. The culture has shifted, cancel culture isn't as popular anymore, and people are starting to question the whole trans rights versus women's rights debate. So Emma tries to walk it back. She says she still loves JK Rowling, treasures her, and wishes they could have had a conversation. She says her deepest wish is that people who disagree with her can still love her, and she can still love them. She frames herself as this mature, balanced person who's above the drama. Except she created the drama 5 years earlier by publicly opposing JK Rowling when it was trendy to do so. JK Rowling saw right through it. On September 29, 2025, she posted her response on Twitter. She started by saying she doesn't expect eternal agreement from actors who played characters she created. That's fair. But then she went in. She called out Emma Watson and Daniel Radcliffe specifically for acting like spokespeople for the Harry Potter world years after the films ended, for thinking their professional association with her gave them the right to publicly criticize her views. Then she brought up the note, the one-line sympathy note Emma sent after the BAFTA speech. JK said that was a turning point for her, that it hurt more than the public speech itself because it showed Emma knew what she was doing but did it anyway. Then JK Rowling absolutely destroyed Emma Watson's credibility. She wrote, "Like other people who've never experienced adult life uncushioned by wealth and fame, Emma has so little experience of real life she's ignorant of how ignorant she is." She pointed out that Emma will never need a homeless shelter, never be placed in a mixed-sex public hospital ward, never have to use a public changing room at a council-run swimming pool. Emma's public bathrooms come with security guards standing outside. She lives in a bubble of privilege that means she'll never face the real-world consequences of the policies she supports. And then came the knockout punch. JK Rowling wrote, "I wasn't a multi-millionaire at 14. I lived in poverty while writing the book that made Emma famous." Let that sink in. JK Rowling wrote Harry Potter as a struggling single mother on welfare. She lived through real hardship, real poverty, real struggle. And she used that experience to create a world that made Emma Watson rich and famous before she even hit high school. Emma Watson grew up with wealthy lawyer parents, went to private schools, and was handed her career on a silver platter. She's never had to fight for anything, and now she's lecturing JK Rowling about women's rights and trans inclusion from her mansion with security guards. JK Rowling wrapped up her response by saying the greatest irony is that if Emma hadn't tried to backtrack in her podcast interview, claiming she still loves JK because that's more fashionable now, JK might never have spoken out. But Emma tried to have it both ways. She wanted to look good to the trans activists for 5 years, and now she wants to look reasonable and mature because the culture shifted. JK Rowling ended with, "Emma is rightly free to disagree with me, and indeed to discuss her feelings about me in public. But I have the same right, and I finally decided to exercise it." The internet went absolutely crazy. JK Rowling's post got over 71 million views. People from both sides weighed in. Some trans activists accused Emma of betraying them by softening her stance. People who support JK Rowling praised her for finally calling out the hypocrisy. And Emma Watson? She stayed completely silent. No response, no clarification, nothing. Because what can you say when someone exposes you that thoroughly? This whole situation shows exactly what's wrong with celebrity activism. Emma Watson built her brand on supporting whatever cause was popular at the time. Feminism, climate change, trans rights, sustainability. She'd give speeches, post on social media, attend fancy events, and everyone would praise her for being so enlightened. But it was all performance. When it mattered, when JK Rowling needed support from someone she'd known for 20 years, Emma Watson chose the crowd over loyalty. She chose looking good over doing good. And now that the crowd's opinions have changed, she's trying to backtrack and pretend she was always reasonable and balanced. The lesson here is simple. If you're going to publicly oppose someone, own it. Don't send secret sympathy notes, don't try to walk it back years later when the cultural winds shift, and definitely don't do it to someone who literally made your entire career possible. Emma Watson had every right to disagree with JK Rowling, but the way she handled it, publicly throwing her under the bus while privately sending one-line notes, shows she was never standing on principle. She was standing on whatever made her look best at that moment, and JK Rowling just exposed that for the world to see. If you want to see more celebrity drama breakdowns, check out the next video. Bye!